Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is the day. I have seen everyone on BookTube do the video where you show your entire physical TBR, and today is the day I'm going to do it too. It's pretty bad. I'm gonna count every single book at the end, and we're gonna see just how many books I have bought that I haven't read yet, and hopefully by the end of this I have convinced myself to be true to my book buying ban, because I think it's time. I think I really need to take this book buying ban seriously, and I think I'm going to try not to buy a book for myself, because I might buy a book as a gift for other people, but I'm not going to buy a book for myself until the new year. That's my goal. That's my end of year goal. But without further ado, let's go over every single book on my physical TBR. I encourage you to grab a drink, grab a snack, because we may be here a while. I've got a poppy myself. Alright, let's get into it. So the first stack I'll go over is books on my current TBR, books on my August-September TBR. Enemies by Svetlana Chmakova, which this is the fourth in a series, I believe. It is a graphic novel. Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book in the Bellinger Sisters duology. The Half of It by Madison Beer. This is her memoir. After We Collided by Anna Todd. This is the second book in the After series. I've read almost half of it, and I just stopped reading it, and I haven't picked it up since. The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. This is supposedly really heartbreaking. The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. I read And Then There Were None and thought it was okay, but I haven't read this one yet. Alright, so that was my current TBR. And now we're on to the rest of my TBR. Okay, we're going to start on the bottom and work our way up. So we're going to start with some classics. Emma by Jane Austen. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I've technically read this before, but I read it in 5th grade, and so I think I should reread it. And also, look how pretty this cover is. Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I'm really excited to read this. I think I'll read this fall. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Who knows when I'll read this? It may be decades, but someday. The Odyssey by Homer. I expect to have to read this for school at some point, so I'm waiting for that day. The Giver by Lewis Lowry. Alright, the next section is poetry. Selected Poems by Walt Whitman. Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Ocean Vuong. I started this and just haven't finished it yet. The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. Everything on It by Shel Silverstein. Next are two Christmassy books that I plan on reading in December. Merry and Bright by Debbie Macomber. And Murder After Christmas by Rupert Latimer. Okay, next we have miscellaneous books. Crave by Tracy Wolff. I definitely want to read this in the fall. It's just hard, when I go to school, I can't really bring this because it's so heavy, you know? Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. I started this and just haven't finished it yet. Endurance by Alfred Lansing. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to read this, but I don't want to get rid of it yet, because maybe someday I will. Aesop's Fables. I am getting through this slowly but surely. I can't just sit and read a bunch of fables, so I just read one a day. I need to keep it by my bedside so that I end up reading one a day. The Lost World by Michael Crichton. This is the second book in the Jurassic Park series. And The Confidence Code for Girls by Katie Kay and Claire Shipman. I think this is nonfiction, which I always have a hard time with nonfiction. Okay, next up we have mysteries. I have a lot of mysteries, so hopefully this fall I read lots of mysteries and thrillers. First is The Innocent Man by John Grisham. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. The French Girl by Lexi Elliott. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I think she might have written the guest list, which I liked the guest list. The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I've heard so much about this book. I just need to read it. The Midnight Lock by Jeffrey Deaver. The One by John Mars. I'm really excited to read this. It sounds really good. And 6 Years by Harlan Coben. Alright, I have 4 more random books to go over, and then we'll do romance, which is the last section. The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans. This is a short story collection, which I've read some short stories before and I really like them. So this sounded really interesting. 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I was going to read this for school, but then last minute I read a different book. So I'm not sure if I'll ever read this, but maybe I will. We'll see. True Biz by Sarah Novick. And Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm so excited to read this. Maybe I'll read this like in November, because I think it's kind of fall, like it looks fall. But I'm really excited to read this. Okay, lastly, we are on to romance, which I have a lot of romance books. First is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. This kind of sounds like Bridgerton a little bit. Like, it's about a thief or a spy or something. So it's different than Bridgerton, but it's set around the same time, I think. Kisses and Croissants, which is like a cute little YA romance set in Paris. Roomies by Christina Lauren. The plot of this sounded so good, and it had some tropes that I really like. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I've heard a lot about this book and a lot about Abby Jimenez in general, so I really want to try one of her books. Speaking of Abby Jimenez, I also have The Friend Zone. I've heard mixed reviews about this, so this one I'm kind of worried about. I don't know. Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I really like The Love Hypothesis, but I've heard not great things about Love on the Brain because I've heard a lot of people think it's just like the exact same plot as The Love Hypothesis with like different characters. Prince Charming by Rachel Hawkins. I tried this book and didn't really get into it, but I'll finish it. I'll keep going eventually. I really liked Her Royal Highness. The Bookshop of Second Chances by Jackie Fraser. This is set in Scotland, I believe. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. The Bromance Book Club by Lissa K. Adams. The Odds of Loving Grover Cleveland. And last, but definitely not least, The Song of Achilles, which it feels like this will be on my TBR for forever. And the day I read it, everyone will have forgotten about it by the time I read it. Alright, now I'm going to count every single one of these books, and we'll see how many I have. You guys, I have counted every single one of these books, and the final number is 55 books. There are 55 books that I have not read, that are sitting on my shelf, that I've bought, that I've spent money on. 55 books. I do not need any more books, so hopefully I keep going with this book buying band, because this is ridiculous. I need to start reading and stop buying. This video was very fun. It made me remember some of the books that I have that I haven't read yet, but that are sitting on my shelf. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. Comment below how many books are on your physical TBR. Bye!